It's Friday night. Oh, yes, it is. Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Glad to have you with us, as always. Joined by Michael Bullock here. Michael Fletcher will be late coming in. He messaged me a little bit ago saying he's running late, so he will be here. So we'll just catch him up on what he missed when he comes in. So we have a loaded show. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Darrelle Revis was arrested last week, and we're gonna spend some time on that. Um, a week has passed since Darrelle Revis was arraigned on 4 felony charges stemming from a Pittsburgh street altercation in the wee hours of February 12th. And now, here is here are my quick thoughts on where things stand with his case and with the New York Jets. The Jets have yet to comment on the situation except for a cursory statement in which the team acknowledged it was aware of the incident and had spoken to Revis. Head coach Todd Bowles and general manager Mike Maccagnan are scheduled to meet the media on Wednesday at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. They will be peppered with questions, although it's doubtful they will provide any substantive answers. The last word on Revis came from Maccagnan, who spoke to reporters on January 5th. At the time, he was non-committal about the cornerback's future and offered only a lukewarm evaluation of Revis' season. According to court papers submitted Thursday and obtained by ESPN, Revis is currently in the Pittsburgh area, where he has 2 children and another family. His attorney, Robert Del Greco, filed a petition for a bond modification, requesting that Revis be permitted to retain his passport. At the arraignment, he was ordered to surrender his passport within 72 hours. The motion was granted because he's scheduled to host a charity event March 23rd to 28th in Turks and Caicos, the petition said. From there, he will return to his permanent home in Hollywood, Florida, where he will continue to prepare for the upcoming NFL season. Revis is winning in the court of public opinion as media types, including ESPN's legal analyst Adrienne Lawrence, have raised questions about the charges. Revis is charged with aggravated assault, a first-degree felony, but no one at the scene said they saw him throw any punches, according to the police report. The 2 alleged victims, Dallas Cousins, age 22, and Zachariah Jarvis, age 21, said they don't remember how they were knocked unconscious. A witness, Nathan Watt, said it happened so fast that he couldn't say whether Revis threw any punches. If there is video of the actual altercation, it is yet to surface. TMZ posted a video of the post-fight scene with an unidentified man, not seen on camera, bragging that he knocked out Cousins and Jarvis. Del Greco said Revis is not the man heard on the video, which he believes will exonerate his client. Pittsburgh police confirmed the video was taken at the scene of the altercation, but declined further comment. So, the Jets have yet to make a decision on Revis the Jets have to make a decision on Revis by March 10th, when a $2 million roster bonus is due. They're expected to release him unless he reworks his contract. Actually, they could dump him anyway, pay cut or no pay cut. They would be justified to do so, based simply on his declining skills and cap charge, which is $15.3 million. His legal issues will not be resolved by then. The first pretrial hearing, which is scheduled for Thursday, was postponed until March 15th, and it could take several months before the case is adjudicated. And you can bet the Jets security people are performing their own investigation into the matter. So that's where we stand right now. And I know when Michael Fletcher comes in, I know Fletcher will back up what I just said, and because I know MF had something that he wanted to get off his chest about this, and we'll see. And I'm sure it'll be exactly what I just said. So a lot to make of it. At first, I was gonna go on a tirade about this, but if what they're saying is true, that Revis was not responsible for it, then okay, that's really all there is to it. I pretty much just spoke my piece. I pretty much said, I pretty much gave you the update and the schematics on what's going on. So that's really all I can say on this. So I'm going to bring Michael Bullock in on this. So Bullock, after hearing all I just said, all the schematics I just said about this Darrelle Revis situation, let's get a quick thought from you while I get ready for the next topic.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting situation. I mean, when the story first broke out, I was like thinking, oh great, Darrelle Revis is now in the Naga Diva category for him going and doing something like this. And now, after hearing the latest news that he may not have started the whole thing, and yeah, I mean, now it changes my opinion. I mean, because I was originally going to go on a tirade as well, but now after hearing this, I'm actually not going to go on a tirade. But we need to wait and see and hear more info as it progresses. Because remember, these are just reports, so we don't know if it's actually true or not. But we'll wait and see. But if he's actually the victim, then whoever started it is the actual Naga Diva. So we'll just wait and see what happens. But that's pretty much all I can say on it. So let's just move on to our next topic now.
Unfortunately, we have to keep the hard time train rolling. Another arrest situation. Trent Richardson. Remember Trent Richardson? He was arrested recently, but it was more serious than what happened to Darrelle Revis. Trent Richardson was arrested for domestic violence. That's a white flag right there. When it comes to us, you know we have a major problem.
You mean that raises a red flag?
Yes, red flag. Yes. Forgive me, I've had a long day. So, anywho, here's the story on this. Running back Trent Richardson was arrested. I believe it was February 16th in Hoover, Alabama, on a domestic violence charge. Richardson, age 26, was arrested and charged with third-degree domestic violence and was taken to the Hoover City Jail on a $1,000 bond, according to Hoover Police Department Captain Greg Rector. Richardson is scheduled to appear before a magistrate and is expected to bond out by the end of the day, Rector said. Police received 2 calls just after 8 p.m. Thursday, February 16th, regarding a possible disturbance at the Hyatt Place Hotel at 2980 John Hawkins Parkway in Hoover, Alabama, according to a news release. Responding officers found Richardson and a woman, whose name has not been released, had been in an altercation. After interviewing the pair, officers determined the two had been arguing at a nearby Walmart, and the disagreement continued once they reached the hotel. At some point, the argument became physical. The woman had visible scratches and bruising to her face. She was treated at the scene, but did not require further medical attention. Richardson was acquired from Cleveland by the Indianapolis Colts in 2013 in exchange for a first-round pick, a trade that was widely praised at the time but would come to represent the tenure of general manager Ryan Grigson, who was fired in January. The former University of Alabama star averaged just 3.1 yards per carry in 29 games with the Colts, rushing for 494 yards and 6 touchdowns on 316 carries, and was cut after the 2014 season. Has not played a regular season NFL game since. In August, Richardson told ESPN that family and friends spent $1.6 million of his money in 10 months. At one point, Richardson said he was paying for 11 Netflix and 8 Hulu accounts, on top of numerous purchases on Amazon.com and for bottle service at various clubs. Richardson added that he doesn't drink. I spend $300 in 2 weeks. They're all trying to live a lifestyle that I'm not even living, said Richardson, who has earned approximately $18 million during his career, according to Spotrac.com. They're all living the lifestyle they think I should be living. An initial court hearing had not been set as of last Friday afternoon, Rector said. So, I'm pretty sure that's all of the. But I want to make sure. I want to make sure we give you the most information we can on this. So, all right, now. All right, I believe I have. I think I stated all the schematics here. So, before I give it to Michael Bullock here, I'm gonna go what the Strictly Sports Facebook post that when we revealed the docket the other night. It simply is this: do you know what happens when you assault people? Do you know what happens when you commit domestic violence? Do you? Trent Richardson, you just made the list of Nogs and Divas. All right, we got Michael Fletcher here. Fletcher's just joined us. So Bullock, hold that thought. We got good old MF Michael Fletcher here. MF, we're only on our second topic, so you didn't miss much. So we already talked about the Darrelle Revis situation. I know you had something you wanted to talk about with that, and we also just and I just gave the schematics about what happened with Trent Richardson, who was arrested on domestic violence. So, MF, let's get what you had to say about the Darrelle Revis, because we talked about this. We had a chat the other night behind the scenes, and you said that you had something on the Revis situation, and also a quick thought about what happened with Trent Richardson. Unfortunately.
Well, I'd rather not talk about the Trent Richardson thing because I don't know enough about it, and I'd rather not comment on it because I think in this day and age, and especially now, it's kind of be careful with what we say, because sometimes it does come back to haunt us later down the line. And for me, the Richardson thing, like I said, there's not enough information for me because I haven't followed that case, unlike I've been following the Darrelle Revis case. And so I'd rather go after the Revis than go after Trent Richardson. Now, as far as Darrelle Revis' situation goes, it's supposedly what happened was he's got a little business going on, property or something like that going down, and he was going down, I guess they said around 1:30 in the morning. It sounds like a couple of guys showed up, found out, I don't know how, but an escalation happened, and a couple of guys got knocked out, and basically Darrelle was basically left and everything else. There was something about some racially motivated terrorist type thing or anything else like that. All right. Let me say this. This is beyond out of Darrelle Revis' character, because from what I know, from what I've heard, Darrelle Revis is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in all of the NFL. One of the nicest guys, does a lot of charity work, does a lot of things, and this and that. I'm wondering, in my mind, did these guys, these hooligans, stir Revis up for him to retaliate or do something that was out of his character? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Because according to a lot of people, Revis would give the shirt off his back. And the thing was, he wasn't looking for any trouble. He wasn't looking for any stardom. He wasn't looking for anything like that. He went to a business, because he's doing real estate, I guess, building a house in this city. And I think the timing was a little weird. 1:30 in the morning. That's not a time where you go out private on your own to do something like this. Now, that's the weirdness of it. But I want to get more information before I can say this was Revis's fault or not. It sounds like to me that these guys, whoever they are, I don't know what their ages were or whatnot, it sounds like they try to pick a fight. They try to stir something up. And because he's a megastar in the NFL, formerly from the Jets, and this was in Pennsylvania. That's Pittsburgh Steeler country. That's Philadelphia Eagle territory, depending where you are. And I'm going to say it. If this is in Pittsburgh, this is different. If it's Philly, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. Philadelphia fans are the most ruthless, racist bunch of you-know-whats in all of professional sports. I'm sorry, I don't give a damn who you are. Philly fans are the worst professional sports fans in the world. And I'm going to call them out on this right now. And I don't give a rat's you-know-what if I get any heat from Philly fans. I don't give a damn. Because I'm going to be as opinionated and as open as of right now. Philly fans are without a doubt the worst in professional sports. Everybody says, oh, it's New England, it's New England, it's New England. The only reason why people come after New England fans is because of their winning pedigree. When it's the Patriots, and don't get me wrong, New England fans are bad. They are bad, and I will openly admit it. Bullock is not that. Derek Ferreira is not that. But there are some who are obnoxious, who can act like a bunch of jerks. They can. But again, I'm going to call it. From what I heard, this was in Pittsburgh, so I'm not going to jump on this. This is not a fight that I'm going to pick. If this was in Philadelphia, I would be Pearl Harboring. But because this was in Pittsburgh, like I said, this is probably a couple of bad fans who is trying to stir trouble, who knew Revis was there, who probably knew it was Darrelle Revis, probably was like, yo, let me get an autograph. Revis was probably like, nah, man, I'm just trying to do my business. I'm trying to handle my job, whatever. They probably got hostile. One thing led to another, and an incident happened. Now, I can't specify on this terrorist type of attitude or whatnot. I don't think, first off, I hope Revis doesn't do that. I don't think he did that. I think he was more the victim than the aggressor. At least from what I'm getting a sense of and what I'm getting the readout of right now. And like I said, I can't say one way or another because I don't know the full facts. Until he goes in March, I think they said March, I think it's like the first or second week in March when he gets arraigned, then we'll find out more about what happened or what the incident was. But for me, right now in hindsight, and I'm just doing this from a step back mentality, I think he was the victim, not the aggressor. But again, I can't say anything about it because I don't know the full facts about it. But from what I've heard, what I know, that's what's been going on. So I'm not going to jump on Revis like maybe others will because, like I said, he's not a knock. He is not a diva. He is one of the most outstanding stand-up guys in all of the NFL. And look, he is by far one of the most recognizable names in the NFL because of his great defense. And that's what it is. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to come out here and start bashing the guy because I don't know the full facts. As far as Trent Richards' thing goes, I don't know enough about it, so I can't put anything on that either. But if it is, but you already know when it comes to domestic violence, that's never good. That's never good. So again, I am reserving judgment on a later date at a later time on both these situations. For Rivas, the media has been very fair. I hope they're fair with Rivas because I know how easily the media can get manipulated thinking that a guy could be guilty after all the stuff. And let me tell you, the initial report, when it first came out, it sounded really bad for Rivas. But again, I'd rather reserve judgment on a later date. Anthony, that's all I'm going to say. It's yours.
Yes, and before we continue,
Florio, I mean, there's a little something I want to get off my chest about the
Yes.
the Philly people, as Fletcher was talking about, and
Yeah.
if it is true, I mean, I agree with Fletch. I mean, Philadelphia fans are the most obnoxious and rude fans out there. I mean, heck, one time Santa Claus was at some game down there in Philly, and they booed him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who the heck does that?
They booed Donovan McNabb the day that he got drafted.
And they booed Michael Irvin when he was getting carted off the field for a serious injury.
No, they cheered him. They cheered over the fact that he blew out his knee and that ended his career. And I don't understand it. They booed Kobe Bryant after he won the MVP, and he's from Philadelphia. He's originally from Philly. I get it. They're passionate, and I get that. But
they take it too far.
Well, I was going to go there, and I was going to say that. But from what I heard, the incident happened in Pittsburgh. So that's why I'm holding back. Because, like I said, I don't know the full incident with I don't know the full incident with the Darrelle Revis situation because they're saying it happened in Pittsburgh. So, like I said, I'm holding it off. But as far as the Philly thing goes, and I'll even go there, our Imperial Grand Poobah, Derek Ferrera, has been in some kind of war of the words lately.
445.
And he's a Philly fan. So I get it.
And he's a total douchebag.
Okay. I'm not going there. I'm leaving that alone. I'm not going into that, Ray. I'm not going into that fight. But that's on you, Bullock. That's your opinion. I got my opinions about him.
I don't care.
But I'm not gonna air it out here tonight. Not live. Not tonight.
And I don't care. And if he wants to come after me, come after me.
All right.
It's basically his way of saying, "Come get me. I'm right here."
Yeah.
That's basically what he's.
But like I said, when it comes to something like that, I've had my fair share of wars with some media, with some internet people. This is one I'm not even jumping on because Ferrera's the one that wanted that. That's Derek Ferrera. Mike Bullock, if you want to jump in on that fray, that's you guys. I wiped my hands clean on that one. I'm not jumping in.
And that's all I'm saying when it comes to that.
No, fair enough. You're entitled to your own opinion. If that's how you feel about the guy, hey, By all means.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if he's gonna go on a rant, fine. But if he's gonna do stupid things that I'm not even gonna mention, I mean, that's taking it out of line.
Fair enough. And MF, speaking of our Imperial Grand Poobah, Derek Ferreira, he just sent me a message, and he's giving you major props. He says major props to Michael Fletcher for calling out Philly sports fans, including a fan from Bakersfield, California. And so basically, you just got a seal of approval from one Derek Ferreira. So
Derek, I'm glad you heard that. Thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
yes, indeed. And he also mentioned about somebody who had to. It might have been that EDP fan. Not to mention when he had to show his ass when the Cowboys lost to the Packers. So there was that. So yeah, he just messaged me a little bit ago.
That was disgusting.
Yeah. So MF has pretty much had his say on all of this. So Bullock, you already mentioned about we already talked about the Revis situation. I do have the latest about the Richardson situation. I want to make sure MF knows about this. He's facing a misdemeanor domestic violence charge in Alabama, in the suburb of in police in the Birmingham suburb of Hoover say he was jailed last Friday with a bond set at $1,000. And the police statement said officers received a call about yelling coming from a guest room at a hotel the Thursday night before, and says police responded and found a woman with scratches and bruises on her face. And the statement said the two argued earlier at a Walmart store, and the dispute continued at the hotel. And paramedics treated the woman, but she didn't require further medical attention. And records are not available, aren't yet available to show whether Richardson has a lawyer. So I just wanted to make sure MF knew the story about it. So in case he needed to think more about it. So Bullock, now that MF has had his say, just share your thoughts quickly about the Richardson situation, and then we can get all these hard time stories out of the way, and then we can finally focus on some positive stuff for a change.
I'm just thoroughly disgusted about this whole thing. I mean, we have a saying here: any man who lays a hand on a woman like that, you're not a man. You're just a despicable, disgusting human being who has no right to do something like this. And I hope Roger Goodell looks into this, takes some serious action for this, and I hope we never see this guy in the NFL again for doing such a stupid, disgusting act like he did.
Well, as a matter of fact, I know the letter of the law, according to the NFL, any violation due to domestic violence actually subjects to an 8-game suspension on first offense. So he would be literally suspended for half the season. If it is a do stick, and he's actually prosecuted on this, so he would be suspended for half the season. If this does happen, so he is subject to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of all these domestic violence things around the NFL. I mean, with the whole Josh Brown situation. Don't get me started on that, because I will freaking go off big time on that, because I was thoroughly disgusted, not just with Josh Brown, but how the Giants and the league handled this whole thing. I mean, I hope he gets punished for those 8 games, but with the way Roger Goodell handles these things, I wouldn't be surprised if he's punished less. So that's all I can say. I'm just moving on to you, Florio.
Yeah, I'm not going to get any further comment about the Richardson situation myself. I mean, these guys pretty much took care of it. So and you know me. I just want to get into the positive stuff for a change, and looking at the remainder of our big docket here. I'm pretty sure it's all about positive stuff from here on in. I don't think we have any more hard times issues to get into tonight, thankfully. Yeah. So the rest of the show, thankfully, is all about the positive stuff. So with all that being said, now we're gonna get into something extremely fun here. NBA All-Star Weekend last weekend in New Orleans, Louisiana. An All-Stars Saturday night. Michael Bullock and I, we gave our predictions about what we thought was going to happen. MF wasn't with us because he was out sick. But when we made our predictions, Bullock and I left with egg on our face. Oh, serious egg on our face. I don't believe any of our picks won, if I recall correctly. So let's talk about All-Star Saturday night. We had the skills challenge. I believe both Bullock and I had Isaiah Thomas winning it. He did not. Kristaps Porzingis of the New York Knicks won the skills challenge, the Taco Bell skills challenge, knocking off Gordon Hayward of the Utah Jazz in the final. And how about what happened in the three-point shootout? Bullock and I agreed again. We had Klay Thompson winning. But what happened? Klay Thompson didn't even make the final. The final went to overtime between Eric Gordon and Kyrie Irving. And Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets came away the winner of the three-point shootout. And then in the slam dunk contest, Bullock and I had a difference of opinion. I had Aaron Gordon winning based on that epic showdown he had with Zach LaVine a year ago. Bullock had DeAndre Jordan of the Clippers winning. But we both had egg on our face as Glenn Robinson III of the Indiana Pacers was the winner of the slam dunk contest. And then in the All-Star game, the Western Conference defeated the Eastern Conference 192 to 182. And we had another mishap because there was me and Bullock here who we both agreed the West would win. I mean, we had that right. We just disagreed on MVPs. I think Bullock had Stephen Curry, whereas I had Kevin Durant. Neither of them were the MVP. It was the hometown hero, Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans, with a brand new All-Star game record, 52 points and 10 rebounds to lead the West to a 192-182 win in the All-Star game. So, with all that being said, Michael Bullock, we're going to start it off with you here. Your thoughts on everything that happened as part of NBA All-Star Weekend last week. All the winners of the contest from All-Star Saturday night and that wild All-Star game where Anthony Davis was the MVP. And let's face it, Bullock, I think we better stick to predicting NFL and college football games instead of NBA suckers. We were horrible.
Oh yeah. I think we better stick to predicting college football and the NFL, because boy, we really sucked. And I mean, I couldn't believe Klay Thompson didn't even make it to the finals of the 3-point contest. And that certainly left me with egg on the face. But as far as the dunk contest, let's just say I wasn't impressed with it. I mean, I heard there were a lot of critics that coming out and basically bashing the whole slam dunk contest Saturday night, especially with Glenn Robinson the third winning it. I mean, they were just not impressed. And as far as the All Star game, I mean, it was high scoring, but I mean, there were a lot more. There were more critics about this one. I mean, it's you literally don't see any defense at all. I mean, this is basically like, I mean, you see a lot of them showing off and doing some tricky dunks. This is why everybody's always criticized. I mean, it's either improve it or, I mean, you either try to improve it or just get rid of it. I mean, it's almost like the same thing we're dealing with when it comes to the NFL and the Pro Bowl. So basically, I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about the whole thing. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, NBA All Star Saturday Night is better than the NBA All Star game itself. That's just my opinion. I look more forward to following the events of All Star Saturday Night, and well, and even though I got nothing right whatsoever, I mean, none of my picks or none of Bullock's picks came into fruition. I mean, you got to give it up for Kristaps Porzingis for winning the skills challenge. Um, they do what's known as big men versus average size guys, and the big men have now won this thing 2 years in a row. Karl Anthony Towns was the big winner last year, as everybody knows, and it came down to Isaiah Thomas in the final. What happened was they had a tournament bracket. Gordon Hayward beat John Wall. Isaiah Thomas beat Devin Booker. Kristaps Porzingis beat DeMarcus Cousins. Anthony Davis over Nikola Jokic. And then Isaiah Thomas beat, and then actually I stand corrected. Hayward beat Wall. Thomas beat Booker. Porzingis over Cousins, and Jokic over Anthony Davis. And then Gordon Hayward beat Isaiah Thomas. Kristaps Porzingis over Nikola Jokic. And then Porzingis beat Hayward in the final to win that. I mean, the 7'3", 240-pounder of the New York Knicks came away with the win. Very impressive. And I thought this was going to be made for, the smaller guys, but give it up for these big men who have continued to dominate in this event. The 3-point shootout, that was the big surprise for me. This was the shocker of the night. I mean, I honestly thought Klay Thompson was going to run away with this thing based on what he's done the last couple of years, but for him to lose in the first round, I mean, crazy. And, top three make it to the final. Kemba Walker, the UConn Husky, who's with the Charlotte Hornets. Kyrie Irving, who hit the three heard round the world last summer when, he hit the three that won the NBA championship for the Cavs. And then Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets having one hell of a year. And there's one of the reasons why. Eric Gordon. Gordon had 25 in the first round. Irving had 20. Walker had 19. Klay Thompson and Nick Young of the Lakers each had 18. Wesley Matthews, 11. CJ McCollum, 10. And Kyle Lowry, 9. And then in the final, Walker had 17. Irving and Gordon had 20 apiece, which forced an OT, before Gordon won in the OT 21-18. And then the dunk contest. Ooh, the dunk contest. Yeah. That was not so good, Al. Not so good. Not because I had Aaron Gordon winning, but nothing of that really. I mean, some of them were okay, but there were just too many attempts in the whole 9 yards. we only had like 450s out of the whole thing. And Aaron Gordon had 72, DeAndre Jordan 84, Glenn Robinson III 91, Derrick Jones Jr. 95 in the first round, and then in the final it was Robinson over Jones 94 to 87. So big ups to Glenn Robinson III. His father, the big dog, obviously very proud of his boy, no doubt about it. And then in the All-Star game, it's just like Bullock said. I mean, the All-Star game, you know, there's just no effort. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's just a meaningless exhibition game. It's kind of like the Pro Bowl in the NFL, although the Pro Bowl was actually better this year, if I'm going to be real honest. If you ask me, when it comes to which sport has out of the four major sports, who has the best All-Star game, I consider it a toss-up between Major League Baseball and the NHL. Have you seen what the NHL has done the last couple of years with that brand new tournament format? MF and I could tell you stories on days about that. I mean, he and I have been very impressed with the last 2 years of the NHL All-Star Game, especially this year. Not just because our favorite division won it, you know, the Metropolitan Division. It's not because of that, but it was just the excitement of that final game in that tournament with the $1 million prize. I mean, I got to give the NHL credit for that. And then with Major League Baseball, they finally got rid of that dreaded World Series rule. When we get to this year's All-Star Game in July, guys, we're no longer going to be determining the home field advantage in the World Series. I heard they abolished it. Something they should have done a long time ago, especially this past year. Because if it wasn't for that, the Chicago Cubs would have ended their World Series drought in the friendly confines of Wrigley instead of Cleveland. So that's just a little something I wanted to get off my chest. But Anthony Davis, though, 52 points, an All-Star Game record. Wow. Big ups to the unibrow. That's all there is to say on that. I mean, we have been waiting for that breakout performance from Anthony Davis ever since his days in Kentucky. You remember in 2012 when Kentucky won the national championship. He was the main reason why they won it all, because he was so dominant. That was far and away his best NBA performance to date. No doubt about it. And to do it on the grand stage of the All-Star Game. Big ups to you, young man. Well done. That was impressive. So, and who had the record previously? Oh, some local kid named Wilt Chamberlain, who I heard was pretty good. If you break Wilt Chamberlain's record, you are special. That's all I'm going to say on that. So another solid All-Star weekend. I still think Saturday night's better, but that's just me. So, MF, your thoughts about All-Star weekend, All-Star Saturday night, the All-Star game itself? I mean, anything stand out to you?
Well, I'm gonna say with the All-Star Saturday night, like I said, the skills competition didn't really thread the needle for me. I gotta say, man, I kind of felt like this year, the 3-point shootout was the highlight of the Saturday night. Any other year, you would probably say, oh, it's all about, you know, nah, the 3-point shootout was it for me. That was, God, man, I had a lot of fun with that. I was geared in and everything else. Once I saw the dunk contest, it's like you said, it was not good this year. And the thing was, what happened last year was the creativity last year was unbelievable. It was like craziness. This time around, don't get me wrong, I like the ideas. I like some of the dunks, but they didn't nail it on the first. If you nail it on the first or the second try, all right, we'll give you a lot of love. But when you start missing a lot after a lot, then you really lose the crowd and you lose the interest. And even like I said, last year's final when it was Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, and when they started going, especially at the final, I mean, it was reminiscent of when Jordan and Dominique went at it in '88, or when Vince Carter and Steve Francis just tore Oakland down in 2000, and that dunk is like, it was like one on top of another. Can you top this? Anything you can do, I can do better. And just the dunks themselves, because they were nailing them on the first tries. Like, it wasn't, and it was like when you nail it on the first try, you're like, oh my god. But I, I lost the interest in it this year. It wasn't that great. Then once you got into the All-Star game itself, I mean, okay, you expected it to be high flying, everything else. I was thinking that if it got close enough, you're going to start seeing the defense really start ratcheting up. But by then, it was already too little too late. The West was pulling away. So it just made it a little uninteresting. But nah, I mean, 52 points by Anthony Davis. You're at home. You wanted it to do it at home. You deserve the MVP. But the funny thing was, Westbrook was going for it early, man. I mean, he really was trying to tear the house down. So, no, good performance, nothing bad to say. That's it. So, let's just move on.
And head on over to Sports Cave right now, because Derek Ferreira is going on a major tirade right now about EDP 445 and Philly sports fans right now, and some other things. So he's on the warpath right now, guys. So that's all there is to say on that. So I think MF created a monster there. So all right.
Oh no.
Let's get into this. We do have plenty more still to come here, and we have NBA news, and we have a lot of NBA news to get into here. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to take charge here, and we're gonna merge all of this into one thing here. We have a major injury and two blockbuster trades in the NBA that we're going to get into. The first big story: Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers, major game changer injury here. He's out for 6 weeks. And then the two big trades in the NBA: Serge Ibaka getting traded to the Toronto Raptors, and DeMarcus Cousins getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. So you could basically call this our NBA minute here, if you will, our NBA corner here. Not to be confused with MF and I's award-winning, well, not really award-winning, but our well-known Bulls corner that we did a couple years ago. This is our NBA corner, and that's what we're going to get into right here and now. Kevin Love. That's a bit of a game changer here. I mean, he's out for the next 6 weeks. It was on Valentine's Day of all days. He underwent arthroscopic surgery to remove a loose body from his left knee and was subsequently ruled out for approximately 6 weeks. Oh yeah. If you look at the Eastern Conference standings right now, Cleveland leads it for now. But who's nipping at the heels? It's Michael Bullock's Boston Celtics. A lot can change in the next 6 weeks. It's too bad we're not doing our NBA power rankings, because we really easily could have gotten into this. But he's not we're not getting into that because Well, I mean, NBA power rankings, that is. But Kevin Love, I mean, being out for 6 weeks, I mean, that's going to hurt. And with the Cavs, with a tough game against Chicago coming up tomorrow night on a primetime stage, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And I mean, Cleveland's right there, Boston's right there. I mean, you got the Wizards playing some good ball right now, and everything else. So, I mean, that's really all there is. And I mean, a loose body from his left knee. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that sounds very serious. And but that's a major game changer of an injury, and we'll wait and see how that monitors. But that's a very bad injury, and he's putting up solid numbers here, but we'll just have to wait and see. And it's a shame too, because he was announced as an all-star reserve. He was going to be a reserve, but he was replaced. I believe it was Carmelo Anthony who replaced him, but he's out for at least 6 weeks, and I do have the latest news about this. Underwent arthroscopic surgery to remove a loose body from his left knee at the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. The procedure was performed by Dr. David Alchek with Dr. James Rosnek of the Cleveland Clinic present. He will now undergo a period of rest and rehabilitation, and his return to play is estimated at approximately 6 weeks. His status will be updated as appropriate. So that's the news we have about Kevin Richardson. And Kevin Love. Like I said, I had a long day, trust me. And so that's the news about Kevin Love, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Cavs will function without him. Like I said, they got a tough schedule coming out, including that game against Chicago tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens there. Serge Ibaka traded to the Toronto Raptors. I mean, that's a very big deal right there. And, Toronto making some major waves in the Eastern Conference. And Ibaka traded to Toronto in exchange for Terrence Ross and a future first-round draft pick. That's big right there. And he spent his first 7 years with the Oklahoma City Thunder and was traded to the Orlando Magic. He was previously with the Orlando Magic this year, and he was putting up solid numbers, about 15 points a game and 7 rebounds. And then from there, it was on June 23rd of last year, Ibaka was traded to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Victor Oladipo, Ersan Ilyasova, and the draft rights to Domantas Sabonis, the 11th pick of the 2016 draft. Made his debut for the Magic in their season opener on October 26th, recording 14 points and 7 rebounds in a 108-96 loss to the Miami Heat. On November 13th, he scored a career-high 31 points and hit a game-winning baseline jumper to lead the Magic to a 119-117 win over his former team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then on Valentine's Day, was traded to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Terrence Ross and a future first-round draft pick. This is big for Toronto. I mean, Toronto really hasn't had that great big man ever since Chris Bosh was there. But they finally have that big man, and a guy who averages 15 points and 7 rebounds and just about 2 blocks a game. Yeah, that's definitely gonna, business is gonna pick up. Business has just picked up in the Eastern Conference. There's no question about it. I mean, Toronto's one of those major players in that conference, even though they've been struggling as of late. I think he can definitely turn their fortunes around. I mean, I absolutely love this pick. I love this trade move by the by the Raptors to get him. And yeah, they had to give up Terrence Ross, solid talent there, but you want results and you want to make that big push, that big playoff push. And I think Toronto will definitely make that big push now that they got Serge Ibaka. No doubt about it. So that's a big one right there. So well done, Toronto, there. And then, of course, DeMarcus Cousins, who, as you know, spent his first 7 years with the Sacramento Kings. And this year, he's having a career year scoring-wise. He's averaging about 28 points a game and about 5 assists. Both of those are career highs. And it was this past Monday, just after the All-Star game, he and teammate Omri Caspi were traded to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Tyreke Evans, Buddy Hield, Langston Galloway, and 2017 first round and second round draft picks. And he made his debut last night and recorded 27 points and 14 rebounds in a 129-99 beatdown loss to the Houston Rockets. Now, as you all know, DeMarcus Cousins, one of the big nods and divas in the NBA today. I mean, who's had so many noggin diva moments, including most recently being suspended a game without pay for, a technical foul and all that, and was fined $25,000 for making an inappropriate statement and gesture after leaving the playing court following Sacramento's 109-106 overtime win against Golden State on the 4th of this month at home at the Golden One Center. So we'll see if the change in venue to New Orleans will help his stock. But, Sacramento, New Orleans, two teams that are really not going anywhere. But they made some good moves here. I mean, when you put Cousins with Anthony Davis in New Orleans, that could make New Orleans a big player in the future. No question about it. I mean, I like that move right there. And Sacramento getting Tyreke Evans, solid talent. I mean, Buddy Hield, we all know what he did in Oklahoma. I mean, was a stud a couple years ago, including that great run in the NCAA tournament. Langston Galloway, solid talent, and then a first and second round draft pick this year. So I think both teams can benefit from it. So there's all that. So I'm going to give it now to Mr. NBA here, Michael Fletcher, MF. Oh boy. As part of our NBA corner here, Kevin Love injured. He's out for 6 weeks. That's a game changer for Cleveland, as well as the Eastern Conference playoff picture, no doubt about it. And then the two big trades with the Serge Ibaka going to Toronto and DeMarcus Cousins going to New Orleans. So, MF, I want to bring you in here now. I'm sure. Now, I don't know if you and Alex have been getting into this.
We have.
Oh, you have?
Yes, we have.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So, I know you and Alex Zapata, your partner in crime when it comes to NBA analysts. So, your thoughts on all of this? Kevin Love out for 6 weeks, and those two big trades of Ibaka to Toronto, Cousins to New Orleans. All of these are game changers as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I disagree with you about the game changing in Cleveland. Because it's only 6 weeks. That means he'll be back in time for the playoffs. And really, right now, Cleveland doesn't really necessarily need him. They've been doing fine without him. They've been fine without Kyrie. They've been fine without LeBron because their team is so loaded, so deep, and so stacked that, couple of nights here and there, you don't really need them. And I don't really think, and I'm going to be real honest with you, I kind of feel like Kevin Love is the weakest link in the Cleveland Cavaliers. So for me, I'm not as worried as some people are about Cleveland. I think they're going to be fine. So no, I don't think it is a game changer. I think it's better that he's not on the court. I think he's a liability, straight up. To be real honest with you. As far as the Serge Ibaka going to Toronto, that's a game changer without a doubt. That's a beautiful move. Basically for Toronto, they needed a big guy to get rebounding, to really help out, get DeMar DeRozan going, and you know what? We could give him a tag team partner. And when they picked up a guy like Serge Ibaka, who's an amazing player to say the very least, no, this was a beautiful move. And for me, I got to give love and a lot of credit and a lot of props to Toronto for pulling this trade off. And to get it for virtually nothing, in a sense, it was a major move and a great play for them. And then for DeMarcus Cousins to go to New Orleans, oddly enough, the night of the All-Star game, just maybe an hour after the game was over, this word got out that DeMarcus Cousins got traded to New Orleans for Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, and I thought about it, and I sat for a moment. I'm thinking, Sacramento, what have you done? You guys totally got ripped here. I mean, even everybody was saying, Sacramento, you're a bunch of idiots for pulling this trade off. And I'm gonna say it. You just gave New Orleans a twin tower. You gave them the equivalent of a Tim Duncan and David Robinson by giving DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis together. If you can surround yourself, put the right pieces together, you just gave them a team that could possibly make the playoffs. I mean, I can't believe it. My buddy Alex agrees with me. We now believe that New Orleans will be able to turn it around and make the postseason. With that move, I think they're going to get in. With Toronto, I hate to say this, Boston, but you guys are in deep trouble now. I think Toronto is now the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I'm sorry, I'm calling it. Deal with it. As far as Kevin Love with the injury with Kevin Love, I'm not worried about it. I think they'll be fine. They just need Love in time for the postseason. Other than that, nothing. No more worries. I got nothing to say about that at all. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, as far as the Kevin Love injury, I'm really not concerned about it, and I don't think Cleveland fans should be concerned about it, because remember, I mean, they've done well when Kevin Love is out, when either Kyrie Irving is out, or even when LeBron James was out. I mean they are loaded. I mean, they've got some talent on that team to help keep the winning ways going for them, and as long as one of them is out there, I think they'll be fine. I mean, I think they'll definitely keep this team right atop the Eastern Conference, and definitely could be it's definitely going to be the favorites to probably get back to the NBA Finals and possibly defend the title. So we'll wait and see. And so, Cavs fans, as Aaron Rodgers would say, RELAX. Relax. Everything's going to be fine. Now, as far as the Serge Ibaka trade to the Toronto Raptors, I mean, now that is a big-time trade right there. I mean, you put him on a team like the Toronto Raptors, and I think the Celtics, they should be worried. I mean, especially after the Celtics didn't even make any moves, and And I think the Toronto Raptors, they could definitely give the Celtics a run for the second seed in the Eastern Conference. So so we'll wait and see what happens the rest of the way. So, and as we're speaking right now, Boston's playing as we're saying, the Toronto Raptors, they beat the Boston Celtics tonight 107-97. So if that's an example of what's to come, then I think Celtics fans should be worried about it. So as far as the DeMarcus Cousins trade goes, man, the Sacramento Kings, I think they just got egg in their face, and you just trade away your best player, and now you put them on a team like the Pelicans, where now you got the Twin Towers with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. And I'll tell you what, and I agree with Michael Fletcher, if you put the right talent around them, this New Orleans Pelicans team is going to be contending. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out. So that's pretty much all I can say on it. So that being said, Floria, let's move on to our next topic.
And this is the first of two topics that we were supposed to get into last week, but we decided to push them back this week to accommodate Michael Fletcher, because this is a topic that I know Michael Fletcher had a lot to say about it, and it's only fitting that the way we're rotating, he leads off on this, and it's only fitting. So because he told me, and it's well documented, he had a lot to say about our next story here as we switch gears to the NHL. Claude Julien. We're gonna get into Claude Julien now. If you've all been living under a rock these last 17 days, well, here's what happened. February 7th, the Tuesday, the same day the New England Patriots were celebrating their fifth Super Bowl championship and that epic comeback, as we all know that story. Claude Julien was fired by the Boston Bruins on that very day, after leading the team to a 26-23-6 record. 1 week later, on Valentine's Day, Claude Julien was named the new head coach of the Montreal Canadiens after Michel Therrien was relieved of his head coaching duties. And believe it or not, this is actually not the first time this has happened, guys. This actually marks the second time in Canadiens franchise history that Claude Julien replaced Michel Therrien. The first time being during the 2002-2003 regular season. And MF, before you go on, before you say what you have to say, I think I found the just cause here. At the time of Therrien's firing and before being replaced by Julien, the Montreal Canadiens started this regular season with a 13-1-1 start. But since then, they've gone only 18-18-7. Even though they still lead the Atlantic Division, but it's only by 2 points over the Ottawa Senators. So now, MF, I know you were very, very vocal about this, and I know you commented on Derek's Facebook page about this. You were not thrilled about this, but after what I just, after that little schematic I just read about the dismal record, are you still upset over this firing? I know you have a lot to say on this. So MF,
okay.
What was yours?
No, I'm still a little bit upset about it, but now I found out the real reason why he got fired, and it wasn't because of the record. He got fired because Michel Therrien had a disagreement with the general manager of the Canadiens and the ownership because of personnel decisions that was being made during the team. And that's why he got fired. It wasn't because of the play. It was because they felt the direction of the team long term was not good. And I said that there was no reason why Therrien should have been fired based on the record they had. I said that unless there was a falling out with the players or that management were not getting along, then I would have understood why the firing happened. Unlike with Claude Julien, the team gave up on him. And that's why that happened. It wasn't because of ownership. It was the players just got sick and tired of Julien and his style of play, and they gave up on him. That's why he got fired. With Therrien, management just didn't see eye to eye with him, and that's why he got let go. Despite having the best record in the Atlantic Division prior to the firing and everything that was going down. So no. At first, I was very upset. It didn't make no sense at all, and I was gonna rip on the Canadiens for being a bunch of idiots. But now that I got the real facts of what happened, and that it was because of the general manager and Therrien just didn't get along, and they never met eye to eye, that's a more legit reason for the firing. There might have been a player personnel decision or the direction of the team, and there was a meltdown, and I get it. But here's the thing. This has been going on for a couple of years that was swept under the carpet. What really broke the camel's back, and I'm going to be real honest with you, was the day that PK Subban got traded to the Nashville Predators for Shea Weber. Miguel Therrien was pissed over that decision, even though, according to a lot of players and to management, Subban was a problem. Was backing Subban for a number of years, saying that he's really good, he's the best player out there, we need him. When the trade happened, that's where the falling out kind of started, or the downward spiral started. The 18-1 was really a easy, quiet point, but it started to bubble up again because of certain decisions that was being made under the decision of certain players, injuries, the handling of the strategies on certain players, especially Carey Price. But then what really broke it was after Boston let Claude Julien go, the general manager who loves Claude Julien started to talk about possibly bringing him back, and that's when the bottom fell out. And that's why Therrien got fired. So it wasn't because of the bad play. Therrien and the management, especially the general manager of La Canadiens, just didn't get along. I could get that. I understand that. Because that's what happened with Guard Foreman, John Paxson, and Tom Thibodeau. They just didn't get along. There was a conflict of interest. They never met eye to eye, and that's when all hell broke loose. So, I'm sorry. If anybody was looking for an epic rant or some kind of thing from me, you're not getting it tonight. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I wish, if I did not know the real reason why Tarion got fired, then I probably would have gone off. But now that I know what happened and what led to it, I can understand it. And I understand it's a business. So that's why it happened. And that's why I wanted it to get my hands on this, because I wanted the world to know where I really felt. Because if you're a Canadian fan, you're probably a little upset, and you got every right to be. And then the Bruins fans are like, "Oh, I can't believe Julian's back. What a traitor. He betrayed." No. Wait a minute, Boston. You fired him. You threw him under. It wasn't because that Julian wanted to go back to Montreal. No. It was that he had such a close relationship with the management of Montreal that they were willing to welcome him back with open arms. So it's a business decision. He could have gone to any team. There's plenty of teams right now that are not that great that he could go with. But the thing is, at the end of the day, he's familiar with Montreal, familiar with the system, familiar with what they want and what to expect. So I don't blame him. I don't blame that he went back to Montreal. I got nothing bad to say about it. I can't argue that. I'm not. So that's why I wanted to get off. That's my point across. Yeah. Mike Bullock, if you want to jump in, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, with the whole Claude Julien situation, I mean, you had to blame this on the management, because, I mean, the way the management was, the way they were running the team, I mean, it left a lot of people upset. As a matter of fact, one personality on WEEI, his name was Pete Shepard, and he totally ripped to shred the Bruins organization. Everyone from Cam Neely to I'm trying to think. Oh, to Don Sweeney, to the Jacobs family. I mean, he literally tore them to shreds, and he went as far as to say they set up Claude Julien to fail. That's what he said. That they put together a bad team just to make Claude Julien fail. And yeah, so this is what ultimately led to the firing of Claude Julien. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, but the thing is, there were some players on the Bruins who respected him. I mean, including those that were around when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup championship, like Patrice Bergeron, like Zdeno Chara. I mean, I could go on and on with all that, but yeah, with the Canadian situation, and man, Michel Therrien, where he basically had a beef with the organization, especially with the trade of PK Subban. I mean, he was sticking up for him and saying he was the best player, but while the organization said no, we're gonna trade him, and this is what led to everything falling into place and to Therrien being fired. And as soon as the head coaching job was open, the Canadians, they were more than happy to welcome back Claude Julien with open arms. So Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the way goes for the Canadiens now that Claude Julien is now the coach of the Canadiens again for the second time. So that's pretty much all I can say on it. I mean, Fletcher pretty much touched on everything. So, Florio, what's yours?
Yeah. When this story first came out, Fletcher was, I'll tell you, MF was, MF was I thought we were going to be on the verge of a cerebral viper rant, but no. Like Bullock's favorite Jim Calhoun would always say, get your facts and come back and see me. And well, we got our facts. We finally got our facts, and we're back and we saw you. And so yeah, personnel decisions. Therrien disagreed with management. Not a smart thing to do. Not a smart thing to do, and that's why you got your ass canned.
And what was not smart of the Bruins organization was firing Claude Julien on the day when the Patriots had their Super Bowl 51 victory parade.
Yes, indeed. And we had our rants about that, Bullock. We had our private rants about that. So
yeah, we're not going to air it out on this show.
No.
Because we already said our piece on that.
Amen. We did. And but anyways, go figure. 2 times. I mean, 0203 it happened before, and then here we are all these years later, and it happened again. Therrien out, Julien in, and the Montreal Canadiens. Oh my goodness, they have been struggling to say the very least. For the second year in a row, they get off to a white hot start, and now they're stumbling again. We saw this last year, and I think that's also what contributed to Therrien's firing as well. 13-1-1 at start, and then 18-18. That's about 500. That's not going to get it done. I'm sorry to say it. That Atlantic Division is very weak right now. And the Canadiens have been so bad, they're not even in my power rankings tonight. Hard to believe, but they're not in my power rankings, especially when you go 2-7-1 in your last 10 games. I don't care if you're a first place team or just barely first place team. You're 2-7-1 in your last 10 games. You're not in our power rankings. You're not in mine, at least. I don't know about these guys, but as far as I'm concerned, Montreal's out. And Boston is in. I'll tell you right now, Boston is in. Matter of fact, the Bruins are in my top 5 because of how well they've been playing as of late under their new interim head coach, Bruce Cassidy. I mean, he's been doing some wonders for Boston right now. But I remember Derek went on a little bit of a rant talking about how Julien's style is mediocre and the whole 9 yards. But we'll wait and see what happens. We still have a bit of a ways to go before the postseason. I'm sure Therrien will get another job, no doubt about it. But Julien becoming the new head coach of the Montreal Canadiens, his second go-around with them. He had so much success with Boston, winning the Stanley Cup in 2011, nearly winning it again in 2013. But, it is what it is. And, these guys, once again, pretty much said all my piece. I mean, I'm not going to, go into any further detail, but yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what happens going forward. But the landscape of both of these teams have changed drastically. Montreal has been struggling mightily, like I said, 2-7-1 in their last 10 games, and out of the power rankings altogether. Whereas with the Boston Bruins, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they're actually playing some very good hockey right now. And I think we can credit that to their new interim head coach, Bruce Cassidy. I'll have more on that later on when we do our power rankings. And I'll tell you right now, I got my power rankings all set to go. So I'm ready to go. So we'll see how you guys feel about it. So when we get to it, but all right. So with that being said, let's move on to our next story here, and it's the other story that we were going to get into last week, but we had it pushed back because of MF's absence. We're going to recap UFC 208. As a matter of fact, we had an NBA corner earlier. Now we're going to have a UFC corner because we're not going to just talk about UFC 208. We're also going to get into two other big stories out of the UFC. Brock Lesnar announcing his retirement from the UFC and the return of one of the most iconic UFC superstars of all time, George St. Pierre. He's back in the UFC as well. So before MF waxes poetic about all this, let's run down the results of UFC 208. We're not going to talk about the preliminary card. We're only going to get into the main card here. In a lightweight bout, Dustin Poirier defeated Jim Miller via majority decision. And I'll tell you right now, four of the 5 fights actually went the distance. So keep that in mind. Dustin Poirier over Jim Miller, majority decision. Light heavyweight matchup, Glover Teixeira over Jared Cannonier, via unanimous decision. The only match that did not go the distance, the first of 2 middleweight fights, Ronaldo Souza with a submission win over Tim Boetsch with a Kimura at 3 minutes and 41 seconds of the first round. In the other middleweight fight, the Spider, Anderson Silva, defeating Derek Brunson via unanimous decision. And maybe the shocker of the night, Germaine de Randamie becomes the inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. She defeats Holly Holm via unanimous decision. And that was all at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, a couple of weeks ago. MF was there along with Alex Zapata. They went up to the brand new Buffalo Wild Wings here in Seekonk, within our area. So MF, let's bring you on in. This is the UFC corner here. Your thoughts on UFC 208, as well as the retirement of Brock Lesnar and the return of your boy, our boy actually, George St. Pierre. All yours, MF.
All right. As far as Brock Lesnar goes, this was expected. I think we kind of knew this was going to happen. He just wants to close the chapter there. He's fully committed to WWE. So I had no qualms in my mind that was going to happen. Plus, on top of that, after a failed drug test that he suffered, he was going to get suspended for 1 full year. So, we knew that was going to happen. So I kind of I got nothing to say about that. As far as George St. Pierre goes, no doubt about it, one of the greatest welterweight champions of our time. Never lost the belt, was forced to retire due to some stuff that was outside of the octagon that, his father was passing away. A girl had claimed paternity, saying that he was the father of a child of his, and I guess he was going to fight that. And there was a lot going on with George St. Pierre. But let me tell you, man, as good as he wasn't no saint. He was a dirty fighter, and I'm going to really shock some people. Out of all the guys in UFC, he's probably one of my dislike fighters in the UFC. I don't really like him that much. I've had some very interesting conversations with Alex about that. He knows my disdain for GSP. I could easily call him one of the biggest Nogs and divas in the sport. And I know this is probably shocking Florio right now that I'm saying all this, but my thoughts, my opinion. As far as the UFC 208 goes, the first couple of fights you talked about, Anthony, I really didn't really care much about. I thought they were boring. Nothing amazing came out of the first couple of fights. Even though I thought the decisions were right, I didn't really care much about that. Then once we got to the Souza fight, to the Jacare Sosa fight, of course, I expected that outcome. I thought Sosa was really good. I really think that he deserved to win that one. Puts him right back into a title shot picture. We'll see what happens in the future. Now, as far as Anderson Silva goes, I agreed with the judges that Anderson won the fight 29-28. Even though Derek Brunson has filed a complaint with the New York State Athletic Commission saying that the judge's decision was BS, I disagreed with that. Alex disagreed with that. We both had the fight scored as 29-28 for for Anderson Silva, and we all agreed that, and even my friend Jeff Monty, who was there, and as a matter of fact, it ended up being a 3-man booth that night with myself, Alex, and Jeff there at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we all agreed that Anderson won the fight. Now, as far as the main event goes, I'm sorry, that was a screw job, and Holly Holm should be the 145 champion. During the fight, after the horn, 2 illegal hits by Jermaine, and the referee did not deduct a point in either instance. I thought the refereeing was a joke. I thought the fight was horrible. And as an MMA fan, I was thoroughly and utterly disgusted with the outcome of this fight. I was very upset. I was very angry. I thought Holly won the fight in my eyes. And I thought that the New York State Athletic Commission should be ashamed of themselves and virtually embarrassed with the judging and the refereeing of a title match. I had Holly Holm winning the fight 48-47 in my eyes. I thought Holly won 3 rounds to 2. Plus, on top of that, I think the score should be even worse because I think 2 points did in the fight. She did an illegal hit, punched her in the face after the horn went off in round 2, and did it again after round 3. And I think those clearly were violations, clearly illegal, and should have been point deductions in my eyes. I really got nothing more to say, Anthony. Let's just move on.
All right, fair enough. And you're absolutely right about, the Lesnar situation. I mean, that's why he had to retire. And I'll be honest, I honestly thought that GSP was one of your favorites. I didn't know you had a dislike for him, but I stand corrected. So I'm glad you cleared that up. I know for a fact, I'm sure Alex had to have been very pleased with the Spiders' big win, Anderson Silva, because it's well documented.
No, definitely. Well, he was very happy with it. I kind of gave him a little bit of a thing because I don't know, because I actually had a bad feeling about it that the judges were going to go against him. But I was very relieved to hear that when we heard the judges' scorecards, 48-40, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28, I'm like, oh, this is going to be close. And once I heard that Anderson, when Bruce Buffer announced that Anderson Silva had won the fight, I kind of took a deep breath and I kind of exhaled. And my buddy's like, you gotta keep the faith, man. This was the Spider we're talking about. I was like, dude. But I was like, I just had this sick feeling about these New York judges, and I'm like, they've been notorious for pulling robberies in New York. So I kind of was like a little bit on edge. But as you may know, the next fight, the New York judging reared its ugly head. But we'll get into that on another day.
Yes, absolutely. The reason why I mentioned Alex is because Alex is a huge fan of Anderson Silva. I should know because I went with him and MF back last summer. We went to Dave and Buster's to see UFC 200, and I remember Alex was waxing poetic about Anderson the Spider Silva and the whole 9 yards. And yeah, I mean, I heard about the controversial women's match, that championship match, and yeah, I think you posted about it on Facebook, MF, and I know you were hopping mad about that. And yes, so definitely an interesting event. So we'll see what happens. But of course, now the next event, of course, the next big pay-per-view event will be UFC 209, which will take place next Saturday night. March 5th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, headlined by Tyron Woodley and Stephen Thompson for the welterweight championship. We're also going to have Sugar Rashad Evans on the card, and as well as Alistair Overeem and Mark Hunt on that card. So a very interesting card when it comes to the next big UFC pay-per-view event, UFC 209. So MF, good insight as always. And now, gentlemen, it is time for our main event of the evening, the NHL, the NHL Power Rankings. And like I said, I got mine all set to go. So I know Bullock's obviously not going to be ready, so that's not a problem. I'll be more than happy to start it off. And just want to address some elephants in the room here. I have 3 duds in my rankings compared to our last rankings. Well, actually 4 duds compared to our rankings from a couple weeks ago. First and foremost, like I said, the Montreal Canadiens. See ya, bye. 2-7-1 in the last 10 games. I talked about that a short time ago. They're gone. Another team, another dud, the Anaheim Ducks. 4-5-1 in their last 10 games. Not really cutting it for me. So they're gone. Actually, I think that might have been it when it comes to actually, no. I do have a couple of questionable and I do have a couple of not a couple of reluctant duds because they're both 5-4-1 in the last 10 games. Nashville Predators, I don't have them in there. And on the outside looking in, the Columbus Blue Jackets, I have not been impressed with their body of work as of late. They're 5-4-1 in the last 10 games. The record's there, yes, but I need to see a little bit more from them if I'm going to put them back in. So I'm sorry, Columbus is out as well. So that's pretty much it on that. And I don't believe I have any honorable mentions. So let me start it off with my number 10. I have a tie at number 10. And ironically, it's the 2 teams that met in last year's Stanley Cup final, the San Jose Sharks and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Reason being is the last 10 games. And a lot of this is based on the last 10 games. I'm going to tell you that right now. San Jose. Yes, they're a first place team. They lead the Pacific Division by 3 points over Anaheim. But they're 4-1-5 in their last 10 games. The only reason why they're in it is because of the fact that 4-1-5, they've had some tough luck losses. They're fourth in goals against average, which is very good. And let's see what happened. Let's see what's been going on with them since our last ranking, shall we? I give you Exhibit A. Lost to the Philadelphia Flyers. Knocked off the New Jersey Devils on the 12th. Tough loss to Florida, 6-5. Last Saturday, they went into Arizona and beat the Coyotes 4-1. And then a loss to the Bruins on Sunday, and they haven't played since. Their next game is not till tomorrow night when they go up against the Vancouver Canucks. Then they go up against Toronto, the Maple Leafs, on Tuesday. And then Thursday, they host Vancouver. March 5th, they're at Minnesota. The next night, they're at Winnipeg. And then on March 9th, a very interesting game against the Washington Capitals. So, and then that's it before our next rankings in 2 weeks, which will be on our March 10th edition of Strictly Sports. So mark your calendars for that. But tough luck losses, 5 of them in their last 10 games in the whole 9 yards. So that's why I got to have San Jose. That's why San Jose is only a number 10 team to me. And my other number 10 is the team that they lost the Stanley Cup to last year, the Pittsburgh Penguins. A similar last 10, if you will. They're 6-1-3 in the last 10 games. They lead the league in goals scoring, which is a big plus. They had the most goals of any team, 205. And they're very good on the power play, 6th. But let's look at their body of work over the last couple of weeks. They lost at Arizona. Bad loss. Very bad loss. Home wins over Vancouver and Winnipeg. That's good. Tough loss to Columbus in Columbus last week. And then a bad loss to the Detroit Red Wings. It's not often I say Detroit's a bad loss, but Detroit is, well, the worst I've seen probably since the 80s, honestly. But they did right the ship with a win in Carolina on Tuesday. But their next game, oh boy, are we gonna have some fun. A Saturday night outside Heinz Field in Pittsburgh against the Philadelphia Flyers on NBC. Oh boy, is that going to be fun. It's part of the Stadium Series. And then they'll be at Dallas on Tuesday against the Stars. Wednesday, as part of Wednesday Night Rivalry, against the Chicago Blackhawks. And I'll tell you right now, Chicago's in my top 3. Next Friday, they're home against Tampa Bay, rematch of the conference finals of last year. March 5th, they're home against Buffalo. March 8th, they're at Winnipeg. And then March 10th, they're at Edmonton. And Edmonton's in my rankings as well. So they did lose one of their key players to an injury recently. Ron Hainsey. I believe he was traded in the whole 9 yards. I know they lost one of their key players to injury, but nonetheless, Pittsburgh, it's because of all those tough luck losses, and that's what it is. So that's all I can say on that. I will definitely, I'm definitely looking forward to that outdoor game tonight as part of the Stadium Series against Philadelphia at Heinz Field. That's going to be an electric atmosphere, just like it was for that Winter Classic a few years ago against Washington. So there you go. Co-number 10s, San Jose Sharks, Pittsburgh Penguins. MF, what says you?
Well, Well, first off, before Fletcher does that, I really have to go, guys, because I really got to work in the morning. So,
Of
All
course.
right, Bullock, have a good one, man.
yeah, hey, take it easy, guys, and of course, Florio, see you for the
Yeah.
Raw chat.
What's that?
See you for the Raw chat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't quite hear you. All right. Yep. Yes. Raw chat Monday night. If provided you don't have any plans, we'll be good to go.
Yep. Well, I won't have any plans, especially now that basketball season's now over.
Okay. All right. So yeah.
It'll be right on time.
Okay. So we'll be ready for Monday night. The go home show for Fastlane. Looking forward to it, man.
All right. So I'll see you Monday night,
You got it, bud. All right.
and I'll see you Monday night for the show, Fletch.
You got it, man.
All right. Bye for
Take
now.
it
Bullock.
easy.
All right. So Michael Bullock heading out. All right, MF. Now let's get to your number 10 in the power rankings here, NHL.
Disagree with Pittsburgh. However, I do agree with actually, let's see. Do I disagree with you with San Jose? Yes, I disagree with you with San Jose as well. San Jose's in the ranking. They're a little higher, not by much, but they are. Pittsburgh is a lot more higher, considerable higher. I could even say flirting top 5. My number 10 is, I'm actually gonna stay out west, and it is the Anaheim Ducks. 32, 20 and 10, 4, 5 and 1 in the last 10 games. The last game that they had was a few nights ago, where they defeated the Boston Bruins 5-3. Not the most glamorous victory, to say the very least. However, it was good enough. And look, Anaheim definitely needed a major win here. They're trying to stay pace. I kind of feel like they kind of got away with one here. And as much as I understand where you're coming from, Anthony, I have to disagree with you because, you know, when you look at where Pittsburgh is, especially being the number 2 in the Metropolitan Division, the best, and I think we can all agree, the best division in all of the NHL. I know some people say, oh, but you're discounting the Central Division. Okay, I get it. I can definitely agree with that. I think have an argument with the Central because, I mean, with 2 teams that is definitely top 5 worthy in both Minnesota and Chicago. So, I mean, there's no argument there. But I have to disagree because of the fact that Anaheim just are, they're good, they're all right. But the problem is, Anthony, and I want to really poke some holes in is that you can't punish considerable because of the fact that they're 4-1-5. Think about that. 4 wins, 1 regulation loss, and their 5 losses were either overtime or shootout. They still end up getting a point out of it, and I can't punish them for that because of the fact that they're getting points. It doesn't matter if it's on the 1 or the 2 variety. As long as you're getting points, I'm not going to hammer you. So that's why I'm sorry. I have to disagree with you in that aspect. Now, as far as my number 9 goes, this is where I have the San Jose Sharks. And it's for the very same reasons I just implemented. The 4-1-5 out of their last 10 and a better record overall. 35, 18, and 7. 77 points. They lead the Pacific Division by only a mere 3 points. But because of what they've been doing lately, I mean, I hope that they do better. I expect them to do better. But right now, that's where I'm coming from. So, minor disagreement at number 10. I understand your logic and I understand why you did it, but that's what happened. Number 10 is Anaheim. Number 9, I'm staying out west, Pacific Division, San Jose Sharks. It's yours, Anthony.
Fair enough. My number 9 is the Ottawa Senators. 5-5 in the last 10 games. Solid record here. They're right behind the Montreal Canadiens, 2 points behind in the Atlantic Division. 6th in goals against, 9th in penalty kill, which is really good. They just had their emotional scene with Craig Anderson returning. I mean, what an emotional scene that was recently. Since our last rankings a couple weeks ago, they've been playing some good hockey as of late. They beat the Islanders on the 11th. Tough loss to Buffalo on the 14th. Road wins in New Jersey and Toronto on the 16th and 18th. Sunday, a tough loss at home to Winnipeg. They won at New Jersey on Tuesday, but then tonight, a 3-0 loss to Carolina in Carolina. So I had them initially a little bit higher, but I knocked them down to number 9 because I liked the body of work over the last couple of weeks. They're at Florida on Sunday, and then they're at Tampa Bay on Monday. Thursday, they're at home against Colorado. Next Saturday, they're home against Columbus. And then they got Boston coming in on the 6th. And then at Dallas on the 8th and at Arizona on the 9th. And now that they got their emotional leader, their goaltender, Craig Anderson, I think that's definitely going to provide a spark for the Ottawa Senators. They got a great young team here. And, like I said, I mean, they're playing some good hockey as of late. And I think they can catch Montreal in that Atlantic Division. I really do, especially with how bad Montreal's been. So that's all I can say on that. So number 9 for me is the Ottawa Senators. Moving on now to my number 8, staying in Canada, but going out west. My number 8 is the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Oilers, also 5-5 in the last 10, but the record's a little bit better. They're tied for 2nd in the Pacific Division with Anaheim, 3 points behind San Jose in that Pacific Division. 8th in goals against, 10th in goal scoring, 11th in power play. So good numbers there for Connor McDavid and company. Let's look at their body of work over the last couple of weeks. And it's been pretty solid. They got beat down at home by Chicago on the 11th. And then they put together a 3-game winning streak. Home wins against Arizona and Philadelphia. A huge win in Chicago last Saturday. Big one. But then they lost 4-1 at Tampa on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, this is the highlight right here. Went into Florida and beat a very good Panther team. And I'll tell you right now, the Panthers are in my top 5. I'll tell you that right now because of their body of work as of late. And then tonight, a tough luck 2-1 loss against the Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals in my top 3. No doubt about that. And that's that. Their next game will be Sunday at Nashville. And then on Tuesday, they go to St. Louis. And then on Saturday, March 4th, they're home against the Detroit Red Wings. And it is Tuesday the 7th, they're home against the Islanders. And then on the 10th, they host the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins. So, yeah. When we did our last rankings a couple weeks ago, I had them in there as well. Yeah, this is a great young team. I mean, McDavid, I mean, his body of work speaks for itself. Cam Talbot, definitely putting together a great year. 5 shutouts this year, a 236 goals against, a 921 save percentage to go with 31 wins, which I believe is the most since Tommy Salo back in, I believe it was 2000, in the 2000-2001 season. So it's been a long time since the Edmonton Oilers have had that great goaltending. I mean, you remember back in the day, they used to have what many called the best goaltender in the world back in the 80s, of course, with Grant Fuhr, the heart and soul of all those Stanley Cup teams with Messier and Gretzky and all those guys. And, of course, they also have Billy Ranford and then Salo, and now they have Cam Talbot. I mean, it was so hard for MF and I to lose him because, you know, he was Henrik Lundqvist's backup in New York with the Rangers for so many years and was a very solid backup. And now, as a pure starting goaltender, he has done wonders, and he's definitely I think he should definitely be in the running for the Vezina, no question about it. With 31 wins and 5 shutouts, no doubt about it. And if he keeps playing like this, the Edmonton Oilers could be a dark horse in the Western Conference. They're that talented. So, my number 8, Edmonton Oilers. What says UMF?
Wow. You know what? I got to do it. I have to agree. I think Edmonton deserves it. Yeah, no doubt about it. What they have done, very much so. I definitely agree with what I've seen, but I also like Ottawa. I think Ottawa's been very good as well. They've actually have played really well lately. They've been picking up a little bit of some steam now, and like you said, they're right in the thick of possibly overtaking the Montreal Canadiens with everything that has happened. Almost identical records, 32-21, 8 overtime losses or 8 overtime losses or shootout losses for Montreal, 6 overtime losses, and actually they're 4-1 in the shootout. So I mean, they're really gamed on this one. So this is where I hate to do this, and you know I never do this, but I'm gonna call for a tie. Ottawa and Edmonton tied at number 8. So that gives me the opportunity to dive into the number 7 spot now. And, well, this is where it doesn't get easy. Now we got to start looking at really the creme a la creme. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably not going to be a very popular decision, but I'm going to pull the trigger. My number 7, even though I know their record is really good, and I know a lot of people are gonna start arguing about that maybe they should be higher on this list. Um, this is where I want to see. Wait a minute. Okay. I can't believe I'm about to do this. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. Number 7, forgive me, Minnesota Wild. I know. This is gonna really infuriate a lot of fans, and I know this is gonna be. I just started a riot. I know it.
Not with me.
The one problem's this: 6-3-1 in the last 10 games. They are right now the number 2 team in the NHL. What killed it? What hurt them? That last game when they lost to Chicago. Was it 5-3 or 6-3? actually 5-3. When they lost 5-3 to Chicago, that killed the momentum. That hurt them. That knocked them off the perch. Because if they would have won that game, we're talking top 3. I mean, honestly, in my mind. And it doesn't get easier. It gets harder. It gets rougher. I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. I know you were probably thinking higher. I can't do it in good faith. Number 7, begrudgingly and maybe disagreeable in many circles, the Minnesota Wild. Anthony, what says you?
You said you started a riot with some people, not with me. I actually agree with you. I mean, I was actually worried about me starting a riot with you. No, you just took a big load off my mind on that one. I actually had Minnesota at number 7 going in, regardless of what you said. 6-3-1 in the last 10 games, like MF mentioned. Since our last rankings, they beat Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago. Home win against Tampa, home win against Detroit, a tough loss at home to Anaheim on Valentine's Day. And then they put together back-to-back home wins against Dallas and Nashville. But like you mentioned, MF, that bad loss to the Chicago Blackhawks on Tuesday night, yeah, that definitely killed their momentum. No doubt about it. Next game will be Monday night when they host the Los Angeles Kings on the NBC Sports Network. And then the next night they go to Winnipeg against the Jets. Thursday, they're at Columbus against the Blue Jackets. Sunday the 5th, they host the San Jose Sharks. Power ranking implication game there. And then on Tuesday, March 7th, they host the St. Louis Blues. March 9th, they're at Tampa Bay against the Lightning. And then on March 10th, they're at Florida against a very hot Panther team as of right now. So there you have that. So, but don't get me wrong. I mean, they're second in goals allowed, second in power play percentage, 4th in goals scoring. I mean, this is still a team that I still think is going to be that I still think is a Stanley Cup contender, especially with Dubnyk, who I still believe right now is my favorite to win the Vezina, although Talbot in Edmonton is right behind him. But Dubnyk has 32 wins, a 201 goals against, a 933 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. So, and then you got these great young talents, especially Michael Granlund with the 19 goals and 36 assists. So, yeah, this is a great young team and a young team that I think can definitely make some noise in the Stanley Cup playoffs come a couple months from now. So, but I agree with you, MF. Minnesota Wild, my number 7. So let's go now to number 6. And I have a tie at number 6. And the second of my 3 ties. My co-number 6s, and this is going to surprise some people here, but I don't care. My first number 6, the Calgary Flames, and my other number 6, the St. Louis Blues. Calgary Flames, 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, and they've won 3 in a row. And they're slowly making a push towards a possible wild card spot in the West. Yeah, they have some work to do. They're 12th in power play, which is good. They're 18th in goals scoring, but they're 21st in goals allowed. So the goaltending's got to pick up the slack. But their body of work over the last couple of weeks has been very impressive. And let me give you the proof. Yeah, they had a bad loss at home to Arizona on the 13th. I get it. But since then, they've won 4 out of their last 5 games. Home win against Philadelphia on the 15th. Tough loss at Vancouver last Saturday, but they've won 3 in a row. All on the road against quality opponents. Nashville, Tampa Bay, and Florida tonight. That's a big one. I might have to reconsider switching Florida around a little bit. They're at Carolina on Sunday. They're home against Los Angeles on Tuesday. Home against Detroit next Friday, the 3rd. And then Sunday, the 5th, they're home against well, actually, on Tuesday, they start a 4-game homestand. And that 4-game homestand takes us into our next power rankings in 2 weeks. Tuesday, they host Los Angeles. And then Detroit comes into the Saddle Dome on March 3rd. Islanders come in on March 5th. And then the Montreal Canadiens come in on March 9th. And that's where we stop before we do our next rankings in 2 weeks. So, but this is a team that we're gonna have to keep an eye on here. So, so yeah, most definitely watch out for the Calgary Flames because they are right now making a push when it comes to the wild card spot. I mean, if the season were to end, they'd actually be in because you got Minnesota, Chicago, and St. Louis in the Central. You got San Jose, Anaheim, and Edmonton in the Pacific. And look who's in the wild card mix. Calgary has one of the 2 wild card spots. Nashville has the other. Interesting. And this is a great young team. That's the team that's where Johnny Hockey is, Johnny Gaudreau. And he's been playing some very good hockey as of late. I've liked what I've seen from this young team in Calgary. Their goaltender, Chad Johnson, 3 shutouts, 2.55 goals against. And they also had Brian Elliott, formerly of St. Louis. And Gaudreau's having another solid year, 29 assists with 11 goals. But Michael Backlund, that's a guy you got to keep an eye on. So, and Matt Tkachuk, I believe he's the son of the legendary Keith Tkachuk. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So that's my first number 6. It is the Calgary Flames. And my other is the St. Louis Blues. Even though they've lost 2 in a row, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games and playing some good hockey as of late. 4th in the penalty kill, 8th in power play percentage, and 12th in goals scoring, which is pretty solid. Over the last couple of weeks, they've been playing some good hockey. They've won 3 out of the 5 games over the last 2 weeks. They've lost 2 in a row after a big-time winning streak. They had won 6 games in a row, but since that 6-game winning streak, they've lost 2 in a row. In that 6-game winning streak, they had 5 of those were on the road. Road wins against Philadelphia, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, and Detroit, and then a home win against Vancouver on the 16th. But since then, they've cooled off. They've lost 2 in a row. Tough losses, both. One at Buffalo last Saturday, and then the other 2, and then a tough loss at home to Florida on Monday. They haven't played since. Their next game will be Sunday night against the Chicago Blackhawks. Implications there. Tuesday, they host the Edmonton Oilers. Next Friday, they're at Winnipeg. Sunday the 5th, they're at Colorado. March 7th, they're at Minnesota. 3-game road trip, and then March 10th they come home to host Anaheim. So yeah, 6-game winning streak since then, been followed up by a 2-game losing streak. If not for that, they would have been much higher, no doubt about it, because of the body of work. But for right now, my co-number 6s are the Calgary Flames and the St. Louis Blues. MF, I need to make a detriment to my previous rankings when it comes to a certain team. I had them in the top 4, but I got to knock them down a little bit based on results from tonight. So MF, let's get to your number 6.
All right. Wow. All right. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm trying to think the same way like you. What would be the best possible outcome here? I'm going to say this. I actually have to respectfully disagree with you, Anthony, here. And I'm about to pull a trigger here on number 6. And that is that I actually have Calgary in my top 5.
Fair enough.
For one. I do have a tie at number 6. And it is actually the Florida Panthers, the team that you were thinking about dropping. I did drop them. But I also am aligning them with the St. Louis Blues. 7-3, last 10 games, both losers of 2 in a row. And I feel this is the right decision to do. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I got to make some detriments here. No doubt about it.
All right. So with that, we now go into top 5. And again, I hate to do this, but I must. And that is the second tie of the night and the last tie of the evening for me. Or is it? Hold on. Okay, no. Wait. Scratch. Number 6 is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm giving the Penguins that spot. Now, number 5. This is where I'll have Florida and St. Louis. So I'm going to put them at my number 5 for the very same reasons as you posted. And I am looking for the remaining. So let me just...
Yeah,
go ahead. Why don't you go?
Yeah, while you do that, I actually need to make a quick correction here. You had a tie with St. Louis and Florida. I got them at number 6. I'm moving Calgary up to my top 5 because of their body of work. I got them at number 5 as part of a tie. I'll tell you who my other team is as soon as you're all set. But I already talked about St. Louis's body of work. I'm going to tell you right now, going into tonight's action, I actually had the Florida Panthers as high as number 4. But after that tough luck loss to Calgary tonight, I got to drop them down to 6, along with St. Louis. But I'll get into Florida's body of work. 3rd in penalty kill percentage, 13th in goals against. But they're 22nd in goal scoring, so they got to pick up the pace when it comes to the goal scoring. Goaltending is solid, and the penalty kill is great. But over the last couple of weeks, they went perfect. They went 5 for 5, Florida did, on a 5-game road trip. Get this, Leonard. Listen to who they beat, MF. Nashville. They went into Nashville, at San Jose, at Anaheim, at Los Angeles, and at St. Louis. But then they come home, and then they lose back-to-back to Edmonton and Calgary. Edmonton on Wednesday, Calgary tonight. Florida next plays the Ottawa Senators on Sunday, and then they host Carolina, the Hurricanes, on Tuesday. Thursday, they're at Philadelphia against the Flyers. And then they start a 3-game homestand starting next Saturday when they host the Dallas Stars. Tuesday, March 7th, when they host the New York Rangers. I'll tell you right now, Rangers are in my top 3. And then the Minnesota Wild in 2 weeks on March 10th. So, Jaromir Jagr, continuing with his milestones. They got their goaltending is decent. Luongo with a shutout, 16 wins. Reimer, he's pretty good with 12 wins of his own. Young man you need to keep an eye on, Vincent Trocheck, 21 goals, 42 points. Of course, our old friend MF, Keith Yandel, 28 assists, leads the team in that department. And yeah, Florida was a red hot team, but then those tough luck losses to Edmonton and Calgary really, really hurt them. So otherwise, they would have been in my top 4, no doubt about it. So number 6s are the St. Louis Blues and the Florida Panthers. MF, are you ready to go again?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. So they were my number 6s.
All right. So where are we now?
Number 5, and I have a tie at number 5, one half of which is the Calgary Flames, and we already talked about them. Well, I did anyway.
Yeah.
So who do you got at number 5?
All right. Did I give my number 5?
I
think I called for a tie because I moved Pittsburgh to 6.
Right.
5, I think I awarded that to Florida and St. Louis.
Oh, so you're okay. So you are all set at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure on that. My number 5s, well, I already talked about it. I already talked about the Calgary Flames. My other number 5, believe it or not, is the Boston Bruins. 7-3 in their last 10 games. They won their last game. And they lead the league in penalty kill. No team has a better penalty kill than the Boston Bruins. Allowed 12th in power play, and they're 15th in goal scoring, which is about 50-50. Over the last couple of weeks, ever since Bruce Cassidy took over, they've gone 5-1 under Bruce Cassidy ever since they got rid of Claude Julien. Home wins against San Jose, Vancouver, and Montreal. And then they went into the Shark Tank and beat the Western Conference champion Sharks on Sunday. They got tripped up by the Anaheim Ducks on Wednesday. But then Thursday night, went into Los Angeles, went into the Staples Center, and beat down the Los Angeles Kings 4-1. Their next game will be on Sunday afternoon as part of the NBC Game of the Week when they go into Dallas against the Dallas Stars, when they go up against their old friend Tyler Seguin. And then starting Tuesday, they have a 3-game homestand. First of which against the Arizona Coyotes. And then on Thursday, MF, we got ourselves a Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl. Guess who's going into TD Garden on Thursday night? Our New York Rangers. And that will be on the NBC Sports Network. And then Saturday, the homestand wraps up when they host the New Jersey Devils. And then Monday, March 6th, they go up against the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa. And then they come home on Wednesday night, March the 8th, when they host the Detroit Red Wings as part of Wednesday Night Rivalry on NBC Sports Network. And that's it before the power rankings. I mean, Claude Julien, they were struggling under him, but ever since Bruce Cassidy's come in, he has got this team playing some damn good hockey right now. And they're only 4 points out of the Atlantic Division. They're right there. And I believe, if I'm looking at the standings correctly, they're right there as far as wild card goes. They're actually tied with the New York Islanders for that second wild card spot in the East. Because you got Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto in the Atlantic, Washington, Pittsburgh, and the Rangers in the Met, Columbus holding down the first wild card spot, and then tied for the second spot, the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders. So how about the Bruins, man? Credit Bruce Cassidy. I don't know what Bruce Cassidy's been doing, but Bruce Cassidy, more power to you, sir. You got this team playing some damn good hockey right now, and I am very impressed. Tuukka Rask has been playing very well. 6 shutouts, 228 goals against, 28 wins. Heck, I hate to say it, but I think we can enter Tuukka Rask into the conversation for the Vezina. No doubt about it, because he's been playing some good hockey as of late. And Marchand's been playing some good hockey. I mean, he leads the team in goals, assists, and points. 26 goals, 35 assists, and 61 points. Pasternak's playing some good hockey as of late. Krug's been playing well. Krejci's been playing well. I mean, like I said, the penalty kill, top notch. And I got to give credit where credit is due to Bruce Cassidy. So, more power to you, sir. So, number 5s for me, the Calgary Flames and the Boston Bruins. And I believe I start off number 4. All right. Number 4, and this is where it gets easier from here on in. My number 4, no question about this. It's the New York Islanders. 7-3 in the last 10 games, winners of 3 in a row. And like I said, they're tied with the Boston Bruins for that second wildcard spot. 9th in goals against average. I mean, 9th in goals scoring, I should say. That's very good. But they need to work on the goals against in the power play and the penalty kill. They're 21st in goals against, 23rd in penalty kill, and 25th in power play. But I've loved what I've been seeing out of them as of late. Over the last couple of weeks, yeah, bad loss to Ottawa, but then an easy win against Colorado at home on the 12th. Valentine's Day, not a good day. They got beat down by the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-1. On the 16th, a huge win at home at Barclays against the Rangers, 4-2. Bad loss at New Jersey on the 18th, but since then, home win against New Jersey on Sunday, and then road wins in Detroit and in Montreal. Tonight, they go up against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Huge game there in Columbus. March 2nd, and actually, they're in the midst of a very long road trip. Look at this. They're in the midst. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're in the midst of a 9-game road trip here. So that home win against New Jersey on Sunday, they don't see another home game until March 13th when they host the Carolina Hurricanes. They got a major road trip here on that. Listen to this. I mean, so far they're 2 for 2. They won in Detroit and they won in Montreal. Now they got to go to Columbus, and then they got to go to Dallas, to Chicago, to Calgary, to Edmonton, to Vancouver, and to St. Louis. That's a 9-game road trip, folks. That's very tough. So far, they're 2 for 2, but it doesn't get any easier. Doug Weight took over the coaching reins from Jack Capuano, and ever since Doug Weight has taken over, I believe they played 18 games under Weight. Their record in those 18 games, MF, listen to this, 12-4-2. Doug Weight is doing something. You talk about Bruce Cassidy doing some things right in Boston. Doug Weight, you remember Doug Weight. I mean, you and I remember Doug Weight. I mean, Doug Weight, one of the greatest American hockey players of all time. I mean, had a stellar career. And now he's taken his stellar playing career to the bench. And what a job he has done ever since taking over for Jack Capuano, who was fired some time ago. So I credit him for what he's doing in Long Island or in Brooklyn. So no doubt about this. My number 4, it is the New York Islanders. As much as we hate their guts as Ranger fans, they're playing some damn good hockey right now. And at the right time, too. What do you think of that, MF?
I can't really disagree. with that. You made a very valid point, especially when we get to top 4. I mean, it doesn't get any easier. My number 4, and I'm going to say it, I have a tie here, and it is, like you said, the New York Islanders, the Boston Bruins. very valid point on this as well. I don't think there's really any argument on that home front. All right. Number 3, this is easy for me.
Mhm.
My number 3, Chicago Blackhawks. I know it's probably not going to be an easy decision, but look, right now, I got to say it. The top 2 teams is Metropolitan Division. I'm sorry.
But
I, the Metropolitan Division has been the best division in all of the NHL. And right now, the top 2 have been the hottest teams right now with identical records in the last 10. But we'll get there in a little bit. But for me, I know that's not going to be a popular decision, especially with Matt Ward. He's probably going to be ripping me a new one for this, but I got to call it. Number 3 is Chicago. Anthony, it's yours.
right there with you. Chicago Blackhawks number 3, three-game winning streak, 8-2, last 10. 3 points behind Minnesota in the Central. 8th in goals scoring, 10th in goals allowed, 17th in power play, but they're 27th in the penalty kill. They got to work on that. Over the last couple of weeks, they played very well. Road wins in Winnipeg and Edmonton before losing at home to Edmonton last Saturday. But since then, road wins against Buffalo and Minnesota and an easy home win against Arizona. Sunday, they're at home against the St. Louis Blues. Tuesday, they host the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the win against Arizona is the start of a 4-game homestand. And they started that off with an easy win against Arizona. Too easy. Sunday, the homestand continues against the St. Louis Blues. Tuesday, they host Pittsburgh. March 3rd, they host the Islanders. March 4th, they're at Nashville. March 9th, they're at home against Anaheim. And then March 10th, they're at their old friends, the Detroit Red Wings, before our next rankings. But there's one player who has been playing really well as of late. Stop me if this sounds familiar. Patrick Kane. He's been on a white-hot streak as of late.
Not only him,
goals,
but
40
Jonathan
assists.
Taves been on a hot streak lately too.
Yeah, Taves, yes, absolutely. Taves has been playing well too. And Scotty Darling, who has emerged as who's been playing very well behind the bench. You talk about the Jennings Award, which is the cumulative effort. Chicago can definitely make a case between Crawford and Darling. Crawford, 24 wins, but the goals against he needs to work on. It's 2.58. That's good, but not overly great. With a couple of shutouts and a save percentage of 917. But Scotty Darling has been putting together some good numbers too. 14 wins, a 219 goals against, 2 shutouts, and a 929 save percentage. So we gotta keep an eye on that. No question about it. But Chicago, they're always in the mix. There's no question about it. And come playoff time, you would be a stupid idiot and a muttonhead if you were to say they're not Stanley Cup contenders. Baloney. They are Stanley Cup contenders, and it would not surprise me in the least if we see them make yet another Stanley Cup push this year. No doubt about it. They got the talent to do it, especially Kaner. And if Kaner keeps playing the way he does right now, Kaner could definitely be in the running for MVP again. No doubt about it. So, number 3, Chicago Blackhawks. No question about it. Number 2, it's our team, MF, the New York Rangers. 8-1-1 in the last 10. They won their last game. 3rd in goals scoring. 7th in goals allowed. Penalty kill, they're decent, 13th. And the power play, halfway decent as well, 15th. So let's see. Let's look at what our boys have done over the last couple of weeks. home win against the Colorado. Home wins against Colorado, or actually, it was a home win against Colorado on the 11th. Big win in Columbus against the Blue Jackets on the 13th. That bad loss to the Islanders at the Barclays on the 16th. Sunday, we beat the pesky Capitals in the Garden on NBC. Huge win. It's part of Hockey Day in America. 2-1 win in the Garden. But then, what killed us? Tuesday night, a bad 3-2 shootout loss to the struggling Montreal Canadiens. If it wasn't for that, we definitely could have made a case for our team to be number one, but not here. And then Thursday, we go into Toronto and we bounce back with a 2-1 shootout win of our own against the Leafs in Air Canada Center. Upcoming schedule. Tonight, they go to New Jersey against the Devils. Sunday, and this is where it gets really dicey. Oh boy, we got a murderer's row schedule, MF. I'm worried. Jersey shouldn't be an issue because Jersey is, so-so. But starting Sunday, batten down the hatches, MF. You want a murderer's row schedule? I'll give you a murderer's row schedule. Sunday, we're at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Tuesday, we got to deal with those pesky Washington Capitals again. Thursday, we got to go to Boston against a suddenly shrieking Bruin team. Next Saturday, we host the Montreal Canadiens. Monday, March 6th, we go up against our old friends, the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa Bay. And trust us, we still have some bad blood with them after what happened in 2015. Then we got to go to Florida on the 7th. And then we end it at Carolina on the 9th. If that's not a murderer's row schedule, you tell me what is. Because that is a dicey schedule. Columbus, Washington, Boston, Montreal. Oof, that's scary.
This is going to be the moment where we're going to find out if the New York Rangers is a Stanley Cup quality team.
I hope so.
You got to beat those teams. You got to win those battles. And here's the thing. Even getting a point, you don't need the 2. 1 point out of any of those games will actually be good enough because that keeps us alive.
Absolutely. And, but that is a dicey schedule if I ever saw one. So we'll see what happens. But I tell you what, Henrik Lundqvist starting to turn it around a little bit. The goals against he needs work on, 258, save percentage, 914, couple of shutouts. Miller's been playing great. Grabner's been playing well as well. McDonough. And, Lundqvist, 28 wins, a couple of shutouts. Miller, like I said, Miller's having a career year. Zooks has been playing well. Zibanejad, who was the hero in the shootout on Thursday against Toronto, he was the one responsible for that shootout win. And, Vigneault's got us playing good. And, 8-1-1 right now. Like I said, I'm not worried about Jersey. But come Sunday, once we start getting into that meat of the schedule, Columbus, we can't take them lightly. Tortorella's got Columbus playing some good hockey this year, very good hockey. And then, of course, Washington, Washington, they've got some revenge on their minds after that tough loss last Sunday. So we'll see what happens. But right now, number 2, it's the New York Rangers. But who knows? Could they have been number 1 if they didn't lose to Montreal? What if file? We're number 2, MF. We just missed out on being number 1. I'm sure you concur with that.
It was really tough, man, because even with the 10 games, Even if they would have made the run, it would have been a very hard argument in order for us to say yes, that New York deserved to be number one. I mean, I think 2 is good enough. I know some people may yell they deserve to be 3. I mean, there's going to be some arguments there, but I think we were right with the decision. Number 2 is definitely New York because number 1 is those Washington Capitals. Those pesky sons of you know what. Washington Capitals. They got the President's Trophy in their hands right now. They got the best record in the league, total points at 89, and they're identical in New York, 8-1-1 in the last 10. There's really no other argument, and they've won 2 in a row. I mean, all right, that puts you over the top. But the thing is, Anthony, you said it. We beat Washington on Sunday. We beat them in New York in the Garden. And if I'm a Ranger fan, I'm feeling very optimistic right now. Now, my feeling is, and I'm going to be real honest with you, I don't like being in the top 3 right now. I think this year, out of all the years, I'd rather be the wild card. I want to play Montreal in that first round because I think we can take them out. I really believe we can take them out. We have before. I think we can beat them. Now, if Ottawa some way somehow becomes that top team, I don't know. Now you start getting a little worried because Ottawa's beaten us 2 times already this season. They've taken us out. So, I don't know. It's going to be real tough. I'm going to tell you this. Next week is the trading deadline. This is going to be very interesting to see what the teams are going to do. I think New York needs a defenseman more than anything else. Offensively, we're great. Defensively, I think we need help. I think we need a defenseman. Now, I've heard rumors of possibly the Rangers going after, and I want to hold you to this, Florio, and I know you're going to go nuts. They're going after Steven Shattenkirk. That's what I'm hearing. They're going after him. They're trying to get him. Yes. That player. Imagine him coming to New York.
That would be huge. That would make up for us losing Brassard to Ottawa and you losing Yandel to Florida. Absolutely.
So that's what I'm hearing. That's the rumor. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But that's what I'm hearing. All right. My number 1, yes, the Capitals. Florio, I guess take it home.
Yeah, it's those pesky Capitals at number 1. Yeah. They're number 1 in goals against, and they're second in goal scoring, 4th in power play percentage, and 6th in penalty kill. Good grief. If that's not a number 1 resume alone, I don't know what is. Over the last couple of weeks, home win against Anaheim, a bad loss at Detroit, tough loss at New York, but they bounced back. An easy road win in Philadelphia Wednesday, and then a hard-fought 2-1 home win over Edmonton tonight. Upcoming schedule, they go a quick 2-game road trip. Tonight they're at the Nashville Predators, and then Tuesday they go to Madison Square Garden for another chance at the Rangers, and then Thursday they host and then they have a 3-game homestand. Thursday they host New Jersey. Next Saturday they host Philadelphia, And then Monday the 6th, they got Dallas coming in. That's an NBC Sports Network game. And then March 9th, they start a 3-game West Coast road trip in San Jose against the Sharks on the 9th. And then on the 11th and the 12th, back-to-back games in Los Angeles and Anaheim. Possible final previews when it comes to San Jose. Not so much LA. Doubt it with Anaheim, but we'll see. But yeah, Capitals. What else can you say? To me, if I'm gonna be real honest with you, I think Braden Holtby is my current front runner for the Vezina. 199 goals against, 927 save percentage, 7 shutouts. Backstrom's playing white hot as of late. Ovechkin is Ovechkin. That's all there is to it. Oshie's been playing well. Kuznetsov's been playing well. And what else is there to say? And also Holtby has 30 wins as well. So to me, Braden Holtby is the favorite for the Vezina. And heck, with his backup Philip Grubauer with 10 wins and 3 shutouts of his own, I think you can make a case for Washington to win the Jennings, which is the cumulative goaltending. So we'll see. And no question about it. Right now, they are the top team in the East. To me, they're the best team that's never won the Stanley Cup. And we've seen, like the Atlanta Braves in baseball and the Buffalo Bills in football, fantastic regular seasons. Nothing to show for it in the postseason. Yeah, the Braves won a World Series, but they only won 1. They should have won at least 3, maybe 4, with that great talent they had. And the Buffalo Bills in the 90s, with all those Super Bowl appearances, they should have won at least 1, 25. And then look at the Capitals. All this great talent with Ovechkin and all these guys playing so well in the regular season. Do you really want to win the President's Trophy? It's been a more of a curse than a blessing over the last few years. Heck, ask them from last year. They had that record-setting year. What happened? They lose in the second round of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then the Penguins went on to win the Stanley Cup. You don't necessarily have to win the President's Trophy to win the Stanley Cup. So there is hope for those other teams, including our Rangers MF. So that's all there is to it. They're number 1 for now, but let's see what happens in a couple of weeks. Well, number 1, yes, it is those pesky Washington Capitals, and we'll see you boys Tuesday night at Madison Square Garden. Simple as that. We'll be more than happy to clean your clocks again. So that's it. Washington Capitals number 1. That's it. Strictly Sports for this night is done. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, let's have your shout outs here, and then we'll wrap it up with the feature content.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as amazing as it is. As always, you guys are, beyond awesome. Best in the world. Nothing more to say about that. To my super fans out there, you guys know who you guys are. My friends in the 2184 crew, you guys know you guys are friends of my junior high and high school days. Love you guys to death. And that's it. So I'll see you guys Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. This is Mike Fletcher, Huns and Ham Hounds. I'm out. Good night. Anthony, take it home.
We'll do, MF. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. Best fans in the world, like MF said, of course. Special shout out to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Woodson and her family, as always. Special shout outs to Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbar, Daniel Chuck in the UK, our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Of course, our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons. And of course, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb himself, Derek Ferrera, our Grand Poobah. We appreciate the shout out during the show tonight. And of course, all of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, and everything else, and our friends from ESPN, NHL Network, Fox Sports 1, NFL Network, NBA TV, MLB Network, the whole 9 yards. Lindsay McCormick, Status Sorrell, our friends from The Roach Show, Megan Mooney, Mary Larson, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, and of course, my church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. Excuse me. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. And Sunday morning service, Wednesday night Bible study, other things going on. And of course, it's a very special birthday shout out to my young cousin Ben, who turns 18 today. Happy birthday, buddy. I'll see you later on. And that's it for the shout outs. And of course, Monday night we got Ridiculously Raw. The Go Home Show for Fastlane. Bill Goldberg in the house. Interview with Seth Rollins. And so much more. And then Tuesday night, 10 or 10:30, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MX channel, Race Fan 95. Review SmackDown Live. Mikey's Mindset, if there is one. And then next Friday night, we got Strictly Sports. And then next weekend, we'll have our preview and recap of Fastlane. So that'll do it for this. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here, signing off. And in spirit, of course, good alum Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, the Phenom, the Twisted Angel, D.D. Woodson, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, and Derek Ferreira, the heart and soul of all this. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube.com. For now, blow it up.